Welcome, everybody, to UFO Man Live. Tonight, we were scheduled to have a guest on by the name of Albert Rosales, but due to unforeseen circumstances, he canceled for the fourth time. So, due to that, we are going on with a different format. We are definitely going to be talking about unusual creature and humanoid encounters. But we're going to look at it from our own viewpoint and some of the video clips that we found online. Tonight, I'd like to introduce to you my co hosts, Holly on my
Hello,
right,
everyone. Great to
Hi,
see
Polly.
you.
and
Hey.
Sarah down below, my flock Sarah.
Hello.
They are both here supporting the UFO Man Reloaded channel and their own channels. So please hit like, subscribe, and show them some love. Okay, tonight we're going to start out with Polly. She's going to be speaking on an encounter that was very scary for her. Go ahead, Polly.
Hi, everyone. Well, since we wanted to interview Alex as Rosales, and he's related not only to the alien phenomenon, but also to the paranormal phenomenon, gathering so many experiences. We wanted to make a show this time more about this kind of phenomenon, the paranormal stuff. So I would like to share with you guys an experience that I had previous to my first alien experience. I think I was about 5 or 6 years old. And I remember I was sleeping with my sister, same room. My sister was sleeping on her bed next in front of me. And I think the best way to explain it is like during the sleep, I had a strong feeling that I need to wake up. Wake up. You need to wake up. You need to wake up. And so I woke up and I was sitting on my bed and I was looking at my sister's bed, but I can see a huge tarantula the size of a beetle car grabbing my sister from her bed and trying to take her out from the window. I remember sitting on the bed and I was just in shock because this thing was huge and the hairs and the eyes and it was taking my sister. So I remember feeling paralyzed, thinking on the same time, am I awake? Am I asleep? Is this a nightmare? But I am feeling so paralyzed. I cannot even scream. I remember trying to call my father, but my voice would not come out and I could not move. It's like all my environment stopped. Reality stopped, and I was watching this spider grabbing my sister and taking her out. And that left me with this profound feeling of confusion. I didn't even know if I should talk about this or tell this to my parents. And even if I would like to tell this to my parents, what exactly am I going to say? I cannot prove nothing. I was just a little girl. So I thought maybe it's just my imagination, and I continued living with it. But still, sleeping for me was always an issue. I was always very scared, feeling things touching my body, my legs. So I used to cover myself. up to the head. I didn't want to know what's going on inside the room. And amazingly, I was the only one feeling these things because not my sisters, not my sister, my mother, no one was talking about this. Only my father. He actually um, told me years later that he could feel entities in our house. I think my father didn't know what he was talking about when he was telling me that he could use, for example, he told me once that he was looking at the stereo back then, and he said, I'm going to turn off the stereo without touching it, just putting my finger next to the button, kind of telekinesis. And my father talked also about out of body experiences. So unfortunately, my father died 3 years ago. I could not really talk with him
Sorry to
about.
hear that.
Yeah, but
Condolences.
I know we were connected. He could understand what I was talking about because he was feeling and seeing also things. So that's how my paranormal experiences started. And then the
Was
alien
that in
experience.
Bogota?
Sorry?
Was that in Bogota?
Yes, that was in Bogota, Colombia. And I know, Tim, you have also a spider experience. So
Right.
tell
When
us
I
about that.
first mentioned my spider experience, did it click with you in a special way, Ollie?
Come again?
When I told everybody about my spider experience, did it confirm to you that what you saw was real?
Yes, of course. And that's why I love so much when we share our experiences because lots of us can just take it as an imagination or as a dream or as, and it stays there. But when we talk about these and we see there are other people that had the same experiences, that makes you wonder if you are imagining or if there is really something going on with other dimensions. And
Right.
that's where exactly we touch all the phenomenon, not only the alien phenomenon, but also all the paranormal phenomenon.
Well,
We
that's
are
kind
talking
of
about different dimensions, different entities, and turns out that we all had experiences with these
right.
entities too. So let's
What's
share your experience too.
okay, what's interesting is my experience was very much like Holly's, except I saw it as I was approaching my sister's bedroom doorway in broad daylight. I saw it inside the bedroom doorway about 2 or 3 feet back. And it was about 3.5 feet tall by 3.5 feet wide. And that picture I put up a little earlier to accent Polly's sighting was what I saw. So let's see if I can bring it up again. This is what I saw. It was black, primarily black. There wasn't any of that brown shading as you see in this picture, but it was completely black with a lot of hairs on it. You could see the back body, and it was shiny black with hair sticking up. And you could see the eyes looking at you. When I saw it, it was looking right at me. And it scared me so much, I ran back to my room and started screaming for my mother and father because I was about 4.5 years old at the time. And my parents came up and they asked what was wrong. And I told them, and they said, there's no spider in that room. And I said, I didn't believe them. And they took me past the room and there was no spider there anymore. So it had disappeared. But it was there. And I remember it to this day. And it has made a big impact on my life because I didn't know of too many people that had a giant spider experience. And then when
Did
Polly
you
told her
have, can
story,
I ask you a question?
sure.
Um, since that experience, because it happens to me all the time, since I had that spider experience, I kind of can feel or see spiders around me all the time.
Oh, me
Like,
too. I know when they're in my room,
exactly,
and I really don't like them.
exactly.
But I won't harm them anymore. I pick them up and I put them outside.
Yeah,
But
me
I do
too.
not
I
like
don't
them.
harm them, but it's like interesting that it doesn't matter where I am, there is always a spider next to me. Do
Yeah,
you
I know
understand
where they
what I
are,
mean?
and they're usually in my room too. Yep.
Yes, yes. So it's weird. It's weird because I don't know if maybe I'm more sensitive to spiders because of that experience, or if something happened because of that experience that spiders are more near to me. I don't
Yeah,
know if,
could be one or the other or both.
yeah,
One thing I was going to reiterate is that when we interviewed Daryl Sims,
yes,
that would be about a month ago now,
right,
or maybe longer, a couple of months ago. Um, we mentioned this story to him, and he said, my wife, and I were sitting in the living room one uh, early evening, so they could still see the sunlight coming into their room. But from the darkest part of the room, they saw a very large spider come toward them. And he said it was 3.5 feet wide by 3.5 feet tall. And it was black with a lot of hairs on it. And that raised my haunches up a little bit because that's exactly what I saw. And he confirmed it. So that's the third person that I've heard. And he has studied alien abductions around the globe for decades. So he knows about these giant spiders. If you ever want to inquire
right.
about them, you can contact Daryl Sims online, or you can
Right.
talk to
And
me or
I
Polly.
also remember that Daryl said something very interesting when I told him about the my spider experience when we were in the show, because he also said you need to take in account that there was an other entity with you in that room other than your sister, you and the spider. There was another entity that told you to wake up you know so it's so amazing, it's so interesting because you also see in those dimensions kind of, well, I don't want to call it the good and the bad or the benevolent or the not, but you see the difference also between the entities, kind of entities of light and entities that look darker than that.
Right. Um, what I'm going to do here is we'd like to discuss the a race of grays known as the Ebens because Polly told me earlier that the little grays that she saw in the desert were the ones that I'm going to bring up. This is
Yes.
a video clip that is well known of the Ebens. Um, this is supposedly confirmed by Rick Doty as real footage. They were not supposed to be filmed, but a security guard caught them on film, and one of the grays is looking right at him, right there.
Yep.
Yeah, those are the ones. Those are the ones that were inside the craft when I was taking during my um, astral travel experience. And those are the little ones. Yeah, like Skinny Bob.
Right.
Yes, I do have a video of Skinny Bob. Here's Skinny Bob. Confirmed allegedly by Rick Doty as real footage. This is very famous footage.
Oh yeah.
And it shows that he's wearing the same dark outfit as the
Yeah.
ones in the other clip that I presented.
Yeah. Those are the ones. Unforgettable. Those are the ones that were inside the craft when I was taken to the desert. And inside the craft, I saw them with the praying mantis during the hybridization program. Very interesting. They didn't talk to me at all, not even telepathically. They were very concentrated in whatever they were doing during the hybridization program.
A few years ago, when I was in Chatfield, Minnesota, I had a sighting with 11 other people of multiple objects that were in the sky during the daytime. And after the sighting, we all kind of retreated to our apartments in the apartment building that we lived in, which was right near the sighting encounter site. And I was sitting in an easy chair at about dusk, so it was just starting to get dark. Could barely see much outside. I had my window open, but the screen was in the window. And from the floor to the windowsill, it was only about 2 foot tall. And then the screen, okay? What I saw in the screen appeared to be a large head. I couldn't make out the eyes or the mouth or the nose, but I saw the outline of a very large head in the screen. I think I saw a gray, but I'm not sure. So things happen because right around that time, I had a lot of strange marks appear on my body at night or overnight, and I'd wake up with them, or blood on my pillow from my nose or behind my left ear. And so I do know that I have been messed with. Um, I don't know the exact details because I haven't done hypnotic regression yet, but I am in the process of contacting Yvonne Smith. So perhaps she can do some hypnotic regression online with me. And when I get the results of the regression, or if I can get the regression taped online, um, I am willing to present it here on UFO Man Reloaded, so you can
Awesome.
all see what a hypnotic regression is really like and what
Yeah,
people experience in an actual abduction.
amazing. What
So
do you think are actually those spiders? Do you think they are related to the alien phenomenon?
yes.
Is that other dimension? Why were we contacted by spiders? Like, is this
Well,
a direct contact? Is this like a screen memory? What do you think
no,
is going on?
I think the spiders are an actual alien race. Um, I've heard about them for decades, but I never thought I would encounter one. The fact is, I didn't remember about my encounter with the spiders until like 2 years ago, when I had something happen to me in my sleep. I think it brought it out, and I now remember it clear as day. And yeah, it's something you don't forget. And I don't know
No.
why I forgot it for so long, but I do know that from studies I've done and research I've done, there have been mentions, those spiders have been mentioned many times throughout UFO lore or research. They exist as a separate entity. They could be interdimensional, no one knows. That's unknown. So for me to say that they're interdimensional would be only speculation. For
Yeah.
me to say that they're actually aliens, that would be speculation as well. What I'm going to say is they appear to be a race of a sort that are extremely intelligent and have nefarious reasons for taking us.
No doubt.
They may be working on behalf of other beings. I don't know. I would figure with their strength and their agility that they would be probably working on behalf of other people or beings.
Mhm.
But then again, how do you really know?
Right.
I've only met you and Daryl so far in regards to personal encounters with these huge tarantula-like spiders. And they confirm what I saw as a little kid.
Yeah.
And I saw them as a little kid, and you said that you were little when you saw this happen to your sister. Why didn't it come for you, is what I'm wondering.
Or
See,
maybe, I was feeling all the time things touching my legs when I was a young girl. So maybe they did, and I just was covered with, I really tried not to see what was going on in my room every night. So I don't
maybe you
know.
were protected by that extra entity that was in your room.
Yes,
Oh yeah, it
that's
could
my
be.
yeah, that's my feeling. That's my feeling. My father always said there was an entity in the house protecting us. Why protecting us? I don't know, but he could feel it too.
Wow.
Geek culture says I've heard one theory that non-humanoid creators were use a telepathic image as a distraction. That's possible. Yes, it is. But what I saw wasn't telepathic. It was physical because it moved. And it scared me so badly that I wasn't going to leave my bedroom until my parents dragged me down the hall. I'm telling you, it was scary.
Yeah.
Seems like the spiders just want girls. 'Cause they were in your sister's room. They were with Polly and her sister, not with you.
Yeah, but my sisters were in school. They were in high school.
Well,
So they were gone. It's like, did they not know that they were not there?
well, that maybe they didn't, or maybe they weren't there to get them.
Maybe this thing was waiting for me to walk past the door. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I had the encounter. No one else in the house has ever seen a spider because I've talked to my sisters and I've spoken to my brother, and none of them have had that encounter. They've had other encounters with lights, but they haven't had any encounters with a spider.
Yeah,
In
the only
fact, my
spiders.
sister was shocked to learn that it was at the house in Valparaiso, Indiana, back in the 70s. Or actually, it would have been in 67.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, and we are not the only ones. We hear all the time people talking about Mothman experiences, and even if we
Right?
talk about, Bigfoot. And so you have here an excellent video team also about a mermaid, and I think it was maybe Mothman. Um, we are all experiencing a lot of things that, look at these.
Mm.
People have been also complaining about this lately, which is interesting. This is a representation of a Wendigo, and people have been seeing Wendigos in the woods lately. Now, if they're actually seeing something like this, it would be really weird. Now, Geek Culture said, I've seen a gargoyle type creature. That's interesting because I've heard of gargoyles, and Albert Rosales, who we were going to interview, mentioned in one of his comments that I read that he had actually documented gargoyles. Okay. Also, there are things that are white that are called ghouls.
Right.
I don't know what they are, but they live in the woods and they can climb out of ditches and attack cars. I don't know what their purpose is, but there's some type of creature that has been reported in the US and down in Mexico. Now, in the Kandahar province of Afghanistan, they captured a giant. We never thought giants existed, but here one was. It killed a soldier with a spear, and then it was killed by soldiers, captured, and transferred by a C 130 transport plane back to the United States, wherever they took it. No one seems to know, but it had red hair, red beard,
It's
stood
like
about 13 feet tall,
it's like all the
super
giants
muscular.
all the giants they find throughout history all have red hair too.
Right. Well, they say that the Nephilim
Mm-hmm.
that were created through a combination of gods, which would be advanced non human intelligences, and man, created the Nephilim or the giants. And the giants were part God and part man, which would make them so big. And they were usually in existence pre flood, meaning before the flood happened on the earth.
Yes.
None were thought to have survived after the flood, but according to this, there was one that was captured and killed, or killed after it was captured in Kandahar province in Afghanistan during the Afghanistan conflict. Where that giant is today, no one seems to know. Now, I also know I saw a video clip of two men talking about this guy. He was looking at a mountainous area in Mexico. And he called his friend over and he said, take a look at where I'm looking. And his friend said, what are you looking at? He said, look straight ahead. What do you see? Oh my gosh, it's a giant. It was a giant sitting on a mountain. And when it stood up, it looked at them, turned around, and walked down the other side of the mountain. And this was near one of the ruins in Mexico, and it was recent. So giants obviously exist. We just don't see them.
There was also a recent show with Jesse Michels about a giant that they caught in Afghanistan.
That was the Kandahar one I was just showing.
Yeah, and so even here we have runes. I don't know how you call him in English. Samson, Shimshon. Well, here it's Shimshon, but we have here ruins of with giants too, and we see those ruins everywhere around the world. So yeah, it's probably related to the Nephilim, or
there is a possibility that they're real and that people just don't give them enough attention. Talking about go ahead, Sarah.
I was just saying, there's another thing too. It's a lot of times when we see something that doesn't look right, like say a giant, right? Like I have seen people that look bigger than they should, and then I can't figure out how they're doing that, right? But also knowing that they're not, right? But it's one of those kind of things that our mind, we always think the most logical thing is somehow the ratio's off or whatever. But do we ever really stop to think that we are actually seeing what we are seeing and what that means, right? Because we're always trying to rationalize it. And I think that's kind of a problem that we do is, you can't rationalize everything just because we don't talk about it doesn't mean it's not real.
Right. And
Yeah.
sometimes I ask myself this question because, we see people, humans, that suddenly get tall and tall and tall, more than 2 meters high. And so you ask yourself why these people continue growing and growing and growing and growing, which is a
Hmm.
genetic thing. They have a
Right.
genetic problem that make their bones, they don't stop growing, and so they become giants. Now, these don't come like just because. This
No.
is inside our genetic, and
Makeup.
some people till today, they just the gene kind of works, and these people continue growing and growing. And we've seen it with our own eyes. In China, there is the tallest guy in the world, that
Well,
his
Yeah,
height
I've
is
seen
more
him.
than
the
Yeah.
original
two
guy that was
meters.
the tallest guy, right? He was like
We
seven something. He was
exactly,
the
exactly.
tallest.
So we
Yeah,
call it genetical issues, but
yeah.
let's think about it.
Gigantism.
Where does the genetical thing comes from? So we hold all this information in our genes till today. In
Correct.
my
We do.
opinion, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, you were talking about mermaids. Um, I have a couple clips that, in my opinion, one could be close, very close to being real. The other one, I'm not sure. But this is one of a hunting party near the bottom of an oil rig that was filmed by the Russian deep sea um, sub that was inspecting an oil rig. Okay, what that looked like was possibly two mermaid type creatures swimming by and spearing a fish, and then a third one coming up in the rear and taking the fish away. That was actual footage from a Russian oceanic deep sea sub. Now, I do have another famous piece of footage. And here it is. This is off the Greenland Sea in 2013.
This one is amazing.
Yep.
Now I have it from a different angle, which is camera 2. Here's camera 2.
I mean, look at that face.
Amazing.
It doesn't look like it has a nose at all.
My
Yeah.
theory is, could the merman that we just seen, or the mermaid, could it actually be an underwater alien race rather than a mermaid.
Well, maybe that's all mermaids
Because
are.
the Russians, when they went down in that one lake, they encountered underwater aliens, and they won't go down that far in that lake anymore. It's over in Russia. It's quarantined. The lake is quarantined. No one can go on it or in it because of these underwater alien beings.
Well, I actually think mermaids are aliens. Like we barely know what we have on our soils. Go
Exactly. Look at
figure what do we have under the seas in
ev-
such a profound
right,
places that
like
we don't
every
even
day,
know.
nearly we find a new creature on the land, and we haven't
Right,
even truly began to understand our oceans at all. The fact that we could literally have, you know, intelligent life living down there that is of alien origin is something to consider, because just because you don't think it could be real doesn't mean it's not. I mean, what
right.
better place to hide? The Earth is made up of mostly water, anyways.
Exactly. There was a recent article in the Debrief, and actually a new species was found in the sea. So
Mm-hmm.
go figure, what do we hold, because as humans we think in human terms. Even if you have volcans inside the sea and we see it as a super hot place where nothing can survive, well, actually we are wrong.
Oh
There
yeah.
are species and animals that have managed to evolve with no sight, with in super hot temperatures inside the water. So I
Yeah.
believe, and we've been hearing also about underwater bases, military bases going
Mm-hmm.
from one country to another, or even military bases under the sea within the United States. So I believe our oceans hold such an amount of secrets related
Oh
to
yeah.
the alien
Mm-hmm.
phenomenon that we cannot even imagine. And mermaids have been here forever in our, stories and mythology. Those
I know.
mythologies, people were not talking about it just because it was fun. Back then, they were seeing also things that were making them wondering about this paranormal stuff. So maybe we look at it as mythology, but hey, we don't know what's inside our oceans. Go
See, the
figure.
problem is that the subject has been clouded by AI. Everybody with AI is creating mermaid videos now,
Yeah.
and
Well.
they're all fake.
Right.
And the problem is the two that I presented were actually from scientific organizations. They
Right.
were not from an AI creator.
Right,
Uh,
which make us also our work more difficult because it's not only with mermaids, it's with Bigfoot, it's with
right.
aliens, it's with sightings. So we need to be very careful also about the information and videos that we share because AI is making it
Well,
impossible.
like on
Right.
my channel specifically, right? I have AI UFO videos, but I make it very clear these are AI, right? Because they're just supposed to be for fun. Now, I've
Yeah,
filmed
I do
actual
too.
UFOs, and I've actually filmed UFOs, and nowhere does it say that it's AI. It's real, and I'll stick my name to it, right? Like it's fine to have both, but when you try to pass the fake off as real, that's a problem. Please don't
Exactly.
do that.
That's
You
why
know.
I don't post too many UFO videos anymore because it's really difficult to tell the fake from the real unless you filmed them yourself. Um, I do have a video clip I want to play in regards to unusual humanoids. If people have ever seen the movie Jeepers Creepers, this will hit home with you.
No, we all thought Jeepers Creepers was just a movie, but did you ever hear what happened in Laredo, Texas? Years ago, someone was out on the road and they filmed this giant winged creature with a human head, bat-like arms, and this thing was flying up above them in their car into the sky. And they took like multiple photographs of this thing. And I said, it was in Laredo, I believe Laredo, Texas, this happened. And I told people the story about something that happened to me last year when I was driving to work. And it was like the sun was just starting to come up, but it was still dark. And about 100 yards off in a field, I saw this thing perched in a tree, and I kind of pulled over on the side of the road, and I looked at this thing, and I'm like, what in the... And just at that moment, this thing turned. And to me, it looked like a human face. It looked in my direction, and the blood just ran out of my face and head. And I just froze. This thing looked at me. And then it turned its head in the other direction, and it lifted up with like human-like legs. And this thing, the wings on this thing, they must have been like 12 feet wide wingspan. And this thing flew off. Now, I haven't told many people this story, but the thing looked like that Jeepers Creepers character. And a few months later, I watched the movie, and I'm like, that looks like this strange creature that I saw in the tree on the way to work. And it's one of those stories you don't want to tell people because people think you lost your freaking mind. But what do you think? Is this Jeepers Creepers story? Is it just a movie? Just a silly tale? Is there more to the story that people don't know about? Let me know if you've ever seen anything that flies with giant wings through the sky. Because, like I said, I don't like to talk about it too much, but if you've ever had any weird experience with strange things like that, let me know what you've seen.
I have to say this. Most reports of winged creatures that are flying around have actually been the Mothman reports, like in Point Pleasant.
Right, yeah.
But I've never heard
Oh.
anything about the Jeepers Creepers creature until I ran across this clip from this guy, and he appears to be genuine and legitimate. So
Yes, he looks concerned.
yeah, if you have seen anything like that, please get back to us at ufoman59@gmail.com. And we will discuss it on a live stream in the future.
Yeah, sure.
I have to show you something from Sarah's neck of the woods.
Oh my.
This is from Fresno, California, and I'm sure everybody is familiar with it. They're known as the Fresno night crawlers. Now, several people have tried to disprove this, especially the tall one. But the small one in back, they were never able to recreate because it runs real fast to catch up with the big one. Like it's skipping, and then all of a sudden it runs real fast to catch up with the big one.
And it has no knees.
Right.
And the way they
those are
walk,
the Fresno night crawlers.
the way they walk is very interesting. I need to say that, well, I do research all every day. These kind of light entities have been seen lately in Mexico a lot. Like people on the street are just walking on the street regularly, and suddenly they see these beings of light walking in their gardens like nothing, like regular civilians. It's very interesting because I don't know what kind of entities are we talking about, what kind of dimensions are those, and why. Lately we've been seeing not only these entities, we've been seeing also the fireballs in the sky all the time, especially
There has been a real
Orange
update.
colored?
orange colors too. We've seen also those ball of light on the mountains in Central and South America. There is something going on with the phenomenon that is looking more obvious, like they are not hiding anymore, kind of, right? So you can
Right.
see these beings of light walking on the street. Try to find some videos from Mexico.
The Fresno night crawlers were said to be physical. They weren't light beings. They were actually physical creatures. And it looked like they had a head and just legs, no torso.
Right.
There was like another video of them walking in someone's like backyard where the camera takes like a side shot of them, and I think it was like I think just two taller ones or something like that. But I always thought that was pretty fascinating. You know, I hear noises outside my window. I don't look anymore, just in case.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I get disembodied voices in my room. I don't want any more.
Yeah, you do too. And your garbage can lid that's automatic keeps opening up and shutting.
Yeah, there's like
Which
this
is
whoosh.
interesting.
Like I feel this whoosh of air just by like my leg in the trash can. So like I'm laying facing the TV, and the trash can lid will go up. Now I've had flies in here, moths. Nothing sets it off unless it's your hand deliberately going over it or something like that, right? Yeah, so it just goes off. I'm not even moving in my room. It's crazy.
It has a sensor, so you need to put your hand over it to activate it.
Yeah,
So
like,
something else is activating it
yeah.
in the dark when she's laying in the dark.
Yes. And I do have my dad's ashes in here, but hopefully it's not him.
Yeah.
Do you still have it?
Have what?
The garbage thing?
Yes, I have my trash can in here, yes.
Why?
Well, you know,
I would throw that away. Like, do you think I'm going to
it's
live every
fine.
night looking at that thing opening itself alone?
It's not every
I would
night.
have
It's like
a
every
hard
3
time.
nights or so. So it's
No,
fine.
my God. Buy another
Well, she has a
one.
ghost coming by to say hello.
Or
Oh
throw away
my
my
God,
trash.
I
Just clean your room or
can't,
something. I don't know.
I can't. I am so related to the alien phenomenon, but I have to say that all the other stuff, all the all these entities that we saw now, and I can't. All the ghost phenomenon. I don't know. I
Right.
don't feel I can trust those entities for some reason.
I don't like I never really had any like true ghost stuff until I almost drowned, right? And then after that, you know, I was more aware of ghosts or aliens or shadow people were like around me all the time. But I didn't see any of that stuff till after I nearly died. So
Yeah, she became more sensitive. One thing I want to say is there is a creature that is seen a lot around southeastern Minnesota, which is not usually mentioned a lot in with the hunting groups, but that would be Bigfoot. And here's the famous Bigfoot footage of Patsy from the Pattinson Gimlin film in high definition, so you can see it walking backwards and forwards.
till it's a female.
Yep.
Certainly looks like one.
Does not look like a suit to me. You can see the muscles flex under the fur.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always trying to analyze the body language in those footages. And that one always makes me suspicious about the way the Bigfoot is walking, you know.
They walk
Um,
more human-like.
I agree, but still it's kind of too human to me. The way he walks and turns around, I don't know. I always have my questions about that footage. It doesn't mean it's not true,
Right.
you know.
A
I'm
friend
just
of mine,
critical thinking. Critical
friend of
thinking.
mine by the name of Leah was hiking in a cemetery, an older cemetery on the outskirts of Winona, Minnesota, at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and there had been fresh snowfall. And she was coming to a part of the cemetery where it was close to the base of a massive rock wall that went up to a lookout point called Garvin Heights. And she said she came across 16 and a half inch barefoot footprints in the snow that were at least 3 to 4 feet apart in each stride. And they were going up that rock wall.
Wow.
So it led to the rock wall and it disappeared like it climbed up that rock wall. This was a Bigfoot sighting near Winona, Minnesota, probably only 11 miles from me. Now, in regards to the creature wasn't sighted, but the footprints were. So there was evidence. In regards to a couple other sightings near me, in Fillmore County, specifically near Spring Valley, Minnesota, there was a couple that was picnicking with their little boy of about 3 years old near the edge of a harvested cornfield. They were at a picnic table and they weren't paying attention to their little boy, and all of a sudden he was missing. And they looked for him and he was standing at the edge of the cornfield pointing. They looked to where he was pointing, and across the field on the other side along the edge of the woods, there were two creatures, one red fur, one in black. The one in red fur was hunched down. The one in black fur was standing tall, and they were under a chokecherry tree eating chokecherries. That was reported in the Spring Valley Times newspaper. Then another encounter, we have a lot of raccoon hunters around here that go out at night.
Someone just mentioned a raccoon in the chat instead of a spider.
Right. We had a lot of raccoon hunters around here that use a bright light to shine raccoons so that they can hunt them. Right? Well, they were out shining coon, and their dogs started barking really loud, and then they stopped barking, and they shined to where the dogs were pointing, and they saw a big, they said 12 to 14 foot hairy creature that was black staring back at them. Wow. And this was in Spring Valley, Minnesota, which is about 30 miles southwest of me. So there's a lot of activity in our area. Now, my brother and my sister were out inspecting some damage that was done to our forest on our property, because we have 2 bluffs that we own that come together and form a valley. And they were walking up where the 2 bluffs come together, where all the water came down from a severe storm and the trees were knocked down, and they were walking over the trees, and all of a sudden my brother heard a series of knocking sounds. So my brother, believing that you had to knock back with a log against a tree, started knocking back, except he did it in the same order that the knocks were received by my brother. So if it was knock, 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 that's what he did, okay? And he got the same knocks back. I've learned since that those knocks are not from a Bigfoot knocking against a tree. It's a vocalization sound coming from their throat. They're making it with their mouth. So my brother and sister actually came across Bigfoot sign on our farm, and that's in Fountain City, Wisconsin, not too far from where I live now, about 35 miles. So what I'm going to say to you is, if you think that these unusual beings are not around you, you may be wrong. They might be there. You just don't see them. Hi, Mama Dingo. Nice to see you. One thing I want to say is one thing Wisconsin's really famous for is the Dog Man. Now, I have a representation of Dog Man because I do not subscribe to the fact that this is real, but you can take a look at the footage. Here it is. It was allegedly caught on a trail cam, but the trail cam obviously looks fake. But I don't know about the footage. It's done really well.
But the muscles don't look like they're moving. That's kind of...
See, that bothered me too when I looked at the legs. You can't see the muscles flex in the legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
like
it
they're
could look
really
like that.
tight.
But I think it gives us a clear picture about the entity itself, you know.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
What it could look like. If you see something like that,
Exactly.
probably just go.
Exactly.
Right. We got a comment that people really like the idea of unusual humanoid presentation from us. So thank you for that comment. We really appreciate it. Okay, so let's see here. What I wanted to say is we tried the best to find as much footage, but you know, most people are so shocked that they don't have their camera ready or they drop it on the ground and run when they see something strange or scary. So chances are good footage of odd creatures is rare.
And we need to take in account that as well as in the UFO phenomenon. Sometimes their own energies and their own dimensions can affect when we try to take a video or a picture, you know. So I think it's okay when we don't have the time or we are scared and we don't have the time to take the camera and take a picture is totally fine. But I think through the videos we showed you, more or less we can give you an idea about the entities we are talking about. Know that this happens still today. Lots of people all around the world are seeing and feeling these entities. And so that's why it's so important for us to tell you that you are not alone and that we are here for you to share your experiences. Okay?
Right. Whether you believe others will believe you or not, we are here to listen to your story, and we will present it online if you give us permission to do so.
Exactly.
So that you can find out whether others have experienced the same thing. All I can say is UFOs are also underneath the speculative research title, because even though I've actually filmed a UFO that changed shape 5 times and has shown an infrared light beam down onto some 65-foot pines, I still don't know what it is. So because I don't know what it is, I'm still on a continuing journey to learn what that is. And any channel that comes out and says, well, UFOs are real. Well, of course they're real because they're unidentified objects.
Right.
Okay. The problem is nobody knows where they're coming from or
Right.
what their agenda is.
It's like,
So because of that, we can't make a definitive statement, can we, Sarah?
no, we can't. And like a few years back, I was filming a fire that just started in my area, and boom, a UFO goes across. People were trying to tell me that, it was a uh, drone for the fire that I clearly could see didn't come from anywhere near the fire, went past the fire, never comes back to the fire. No, it was not, right? Plus, not only that, I asked some fire people around because there's tons of them around here, and they're like, "Yeah, no, what? I don't know what that is, but that's definitely not fire equipment." And I was like, "Right?" So, it could be caught anywhere accidentally. I was shooting a fire, caught a UFO.
I actually
Yeah.
saw that footage and it flew by, and I said to her, "Oh, that's probably a fire drone." And she said, "Nope, it's not."
No, it comes
See,
far away too fast and past the fire, never turns.
yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't hovering around the fire, it took off.
Yeah, I just
Um,
was just caught.
so she does have good UFO footage. Yes, she does. In regards to posting it up on UFO Man channel, I hope to get it from her again, and we'll put it up so you can see it.
I
Okay.
will send you again my last sighting too, so you can share it in your channels, guys. I'm working and still on it
we'll-
because I need to do like a zoom. There is some point in my footage where I don't see it with my bare eyes. But if you
Right.
do the zoom, the UFO is there. So I'm working on it to make it more clear for you, and I will share
Okay.
it as soon as possible.
Mama Dingo said an object over their car. My parents passed out. I didn't. Wow, that's really interesting, Mama Dingo.
Yeah.
You
She's in.
experienced a large cat out of nowhere on the bonnet of our car staring at us through the windscreen. I can imagine that. We got mountain lions around here, so it's possible.
All I know is one time I was in the backyard, and the house that we had in Temecula was a 2-story house, but the backyard was half acre. Right behind us is an empty field overlooking into Meadowview, which are rich houses. And out there in the bushes, I swear I saw a cat the size of a panther out there that was black, right? No matter what angle I went to, the cat never moved, but it looked exactly like that, right? So I even went upstairs to my parents' bedroom, which overlooked the field, and it still looked exactly the same. So then I got my dad's binoculars, zoomed in close, it looked just like a panther, right? So I got my cousin, and he was like, I don't see anything. But I clearly do. I've gone upstairs to see that I've seen it, right? So I directed him out to the field to go find it, and he went there, and I could see him by it, but he never saw a cat there. And I was like, well, you're right there by it. You don't see anything there. So what did I see? I don't know. But I saw, the same exact, didn't move. I don't know what I saw. He went out there, he couldn't see it. Does it mean that it wasn't there? I don't
No, it
know.
means that only
Well,
you were sensitive to it.
Yeah.
right, and you remind me very much the show we made with Cleland. Remember about the connection between aliens and I forgot the name in English. Um, the bird that is related to aliens. Oh my God!
Thunderbird?
No.
Phoenix? I don't know.
No, the bird. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Me?
Just go ahead. No, go ahead.
I don't
need to-
remember exactly, otherwise I would bring it up.
Michael Cleland. He always makes the connection between aliens and the bird that
Oh,
eats rats
owl.
on the
Oh, the
owls.
owl. Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Yes.
Sorry. I know all the
So-
birds. Sorry.
Yeah, so people sometimes see owls and they are not really owls. And what
No,
what
it's
looks,
their race.
it can be an alien, sometimes they transform into something else. So this phenomenon is just amazing. Yeah.
For the most part, owls are seen when grays are looking in a window because it's a screen memory to protect whoever's looking out. They'll see a bird and they'll feel more comfortable rather than
Right.
seeing
And
a
it
gray.
happens a lot. Yeah, kind of they show you something that you will feel more comfortable with it, which I think is what happened with me in my experience in the desert. They showed me a tent, but inside there was the huge craft. So
Well, yeah, a lot of people have reported that. I remember a woman that's very famous, Deborah Jordan Cobble. I interviewed her about her incidences in the woods. And one of the times that she came across the beings that she was interacting with, she saw what looked like a diner. And she walked into the diner. And when she walked through the door, it was a huge ship rather than a diner.
Right. I'd be more unlikely to walk into a diner than just a huge ship that I'm going to be awestruck by. I'd be like, no, I ain't seen that. That what? I'd be like, diner makes sense. I'll walk into that.
I've actually had memories of people lined up in lines, no clothes on, holding their clothes neatly folded in front of them with their arms out, approaching what looks like a glass elevator that goes up into the bottom of this huge craft. And I've actually seen that where I felt I was in line. And I've never mentioned it before because I thought it was kind of far-fetched. But it could be something legit. I don't know. Because I've seen it more than once.
it goes down,
No, it goes up.
it goes up.
And it's like a glass elevator. You walk into this square glass room and it's totally enclosed. And you're taken up into a craft. And I can honestly say that I can see people going up this enclosed chamber or tube or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Another person that mentioned this about people unclothed with their clothes folded, holding their arms straight out and holding it was Terry Lovelace. When he was on board one of the ships that he was on, he said they were in lines holding their clothes out in front of them, neatly folded. Now, I don't know where he was going, but that's what he said. So that's some kind of confirmation, a little bit of what I saw.
Yeah.
There's so many experiences out there from everyone, and what we're willing to do here on UFO Man Reloaded and on Polly's channel and on Sarah's channel is dig deep and delve into those testimonies. So if you have a testimony of your own and you would like to be on UFO Man Reloaded, the email you can contact me at is ufoman59@gmail.com. Feel free to contact me and upload your story, and we will talk and perhaps schedule you for a future live stream. But I want to thank Polly and Sarah for being here this evening and for helping me put on a show for you guys when our guest was unable to attend.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Polly. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I enjoyed
Teamwork.
every second, and every show we make, I'm so excited because we can always share more information and put this seed and these questions in our public. And as Tim said, please feel free to reach us and tell us your stories. Maybe we can bring you to the UFO Man show, and keep sharing, like, subscribe. We love you very much. Have an amazing night.
Right. We want to thank everybody who participated online, and of course, everybody who participated in the chat. I know it's very hard to take time out of your day to come here and spend a little bit of time, but thank you very much. And as always, good night.
Pinnacle of Earth, do not fear us. We are only here to help you ascend to a higher frequency. When you do, you will become one with our intergalactic community.
Travelers of Earth, elevate your feed. For sightings, secrets, and the truth beyond the stars, follow UFO Man. Smash that like, hit subscribe, and ring the bell to join the flight.